Moving on, the Supreme Court today cancelled 214 of the 218 coal blocks allocated by the successive governments since '93 and gave the companies awarded coal licenses 6 months to wind up their operations. 4 blocks run by the central government agencies have been spared the axe. In a landmark verdict last month, remember, the apex court had said that licenses to the blocks were illegal and arbitrary and a transparent process for their bids was not allowed. The allocation of the coal blocks to various companies had been at the centre of what has come to be known as the Coalgate scandal, set to cost the exchequer a whopping 1.86 lakh crores, according to a 2012 audit report.
Has cancelled all allocations except 4. So 4 remain out of 218, and those 4 are 2 belong to an ultra mega power project in the state of Madhya Pradesh. So those were in any case not a part of the judgment, but they have been clarified that they are not affected. The 2 which have been saved by the Supreme Court is 1 belonging to NTPC and 1 belonging to SAIL. Both are central government companies, and therefore they are the only companies which have been saved. Now 6 months breathing time has been given for the mining to go on as before, and therefore within 6 months they will carry on. We will put the blueprint in place and commence the auctions as soon as possible, or allocations to government companies without auction.
This brings to a close the entire uncertainty about these allocations, where the court has made it clear that all these allocations are cancelled. Those who are extracting coal will be allowed to continue for another 6 months. They will have to pay 295 rupees a ton to the government for every ton of coal extracted, as will also those who had earlier extracted. That means all the extraction from the beginning till today, they will have to pay 295 rupees a ton, which is the figure calculated by the C&AG as the loss, as the average loss being occasioned to the government by way of giving these coal block allocations free to these.
Jaskirat Singh Baba now joining us on this story. Jaskirat, the Supreme Court quashing the allocation of these 214 coal blocks allotted since '93. Apex Court not cancelling the 4 coal blocks out of 218 which were declared illegal. We know that this has happened. What happens now? What does this mean for the government? What does it mean for the probe and for the case?
Hello. The government has to pull up its socks, and in the next 6 months, within the next 6 months, has to draw in a mechanism, a blueprint has to be put in place as to what they plan to do and how they plan to go ahead with the allocation of these coal blocks, because the production is, most of them which are in operation as of now, will cease on the 31st of March 2015. Of course, the genesis of the blueprint actually lies in one of the previous judgments of the Supreme Court, where in the 2G license cancellation, the Supreme Court had said that all natural resources which have been given out should go through a process of competitive bidding, and that is likely to be the process that the government adapts. Already hints have been dropped with that in that direction. It remains to be seen how they formalize this. This 6 months is going to be very crucial, because this is also a breathing space being given to the companies who are going to face a huge impact of this decision. Not only do they have to cease their operation in 6 months, they also have to pay a huge penalty of about 295 rupees per ton of the coal that has been already mined, and the coal that they are about to mine in the next 6 months. And any estimate will show that the amount of coal that has been mined runs into millions of tons, which clearly means that there's a lot of money that the country exchequer should be expecting. But this also means that these companies are now going to approach the banks for further loans, because none of these amounts are amounts which remain in cash reserves with the companies. Now, after this 31st of March, it remains to be seen how the government plans to go forward in open competitive bidding, and or whether the public sector units will be taking over the coal blocks, and how they plan to segregate this.
Absolutely, Jaskirat, what you're saying, using that as a jumping off point, what seems to be the future course of action? Because the government is now free to auction or perhaps allot the blocks to central firms.
They haven't formally explicitly expressed as to, especially the Attorney General, who was asked as to how they plan to go ahead. This is 6 months time has been given, and they want to make sure that they're able to get this as per the proper satisfaction and ensure that no untoward incident or nothing abnormal happens in the process going forward. Because of course there's been so much criticism and such a loss which is being faced now because of this decision. So they do not want a repeat of any of that. So they are going to think this through. Already even before today's judgment, it was made clear by the government government that they are considering the process of open bidding. They wanted the Supreme Court to arrive at this decision as soon as possible so that the government could go ahead and start with the process of deciding what to do with the coal blocks, because it is very crucial to the power generation in the country. The government had also informed the Supreme Court earlier this month that the power crisis in the country is in a very severe situation, in a very serious situation, that there is in fact an existing power crisis. And of course the 6-month time that has been given from the Supreme Court side seems in some sort of a way a breather not just to the coal company, to the companies which are mining, but also a breather to the government to try and figure out a way to cushion the impact of this decision. So yes, there is going to be a blueprint in place. There will be something happening in terms of whether some blocks will be auctioned out or whether all of them will be auctioned out, or there will be a segregation between what are going to be reserved for private companies to be auctioned out and what the public sector units will be taking over. All that remains to be seen.
Absolutely. Jaskirat Singh Bawa, thank you for bringing us that update.